Ah. Ah. All right, piss and vinegar day 256 maybe. So at the start of this workout, I was listening to an audiobook. I was just gonna do a live post narration. And then I was like, man, probably shouldn't be listening to an audiobook when I work out. Like, for a while now, on everything but leg day, I've taken it pretty chill, just because the left bicep tear, I couldn't train my body properly. But now I'm getting to the point where I can get a bit more intense on the workout now. I'm starting to actually do bilateral sets of heavy presses and stuff like that, right? And I was like, oh, I can't do that now. I have to listen to some proper music to get me stimulated, because it's fun to listen to audiobooks and stuff when you're working out, and it makes it more enjoyable sometimes if you don't want to work out. And sometimes you don't want to listen to music because, I don't know, maybe burnt out on the music you listen to or whatever. But the thing is, when you work out, you want to be excited. The more your central nervous system is excited, the more you are stimulated, the more you can recruit more muscle fibers. If you perceive something as harder because you're a bit lethargic, you won't push as hard, consciously or unconsciously, and therefore you won't get full motor unit recruitment, and then you won't get anywhere as much growth or stimulus. So I like to think of a workout as something where you have to really force yourself to be totally zapped and ready to go. Coffee's great, metal's good, whatever music you enjoy, whatever it is, just do something. Make sure that when you're working out, you are actually excited. And I don't mean happy about it. Sometimes you're not gonna be happy to work out, but maybe angry, the fact you have to work out, whatever it is, but something that gets your central nervous system primed, because if you're not primed, you won't be able to do as much mechanical tension, and you won't then get the same results. So yeah, before I was working out, I was like, I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like listening to music. I'm just gonna listen to fucking a Warhammer 40K audiobook. And then I'm like, nah, because not only am I gonna be distracted from my sets, I'm not gonna be as fucking ready to go as I am when I blast Pantera or something. That's the thing about high intensity that's great too, is if you're trying to find a whole plethora of songs to get you excited for a 2-hour long volume workout, good luck. I mean, you'd have to have a very diverse music taste. But I'm doing maybe 6 sets this workout, so I only need basically 4 or 5 songs to get me through it, because high intensity workouts take 20 minutes max, maybe 30, but I mean, that's half an album, you know? So even if you're not a metal fan, it could be but anything that you enjoy, and just the kind of music that you get to in a way that you're just like, I'm feeling it, that's really important, because otherwise you're just not gonna go after it as much. And people don't think about that. It is very much, it's not just like a meathead bro thing where it's like, gotta train insane, bro, you gotta be intense, dude. From an actual scientific perspective, you cannot use as much of your central nervous system if you haven't got the adrenaline going, you don't have the excitation going in your brain, and therefore you won't get the same results. And then you won't get the catharsis of it either. You won't produce the same chemicals that you get, the high you get when you just do a crazy, brutal, mental stimulatory workout. You don't get that caveman, leftover DNA that just wants to get out with some hectic fucking physical shit. So yeah, find some music that will get you hyped up and make your sets, especially the really bang for your buck shit, like barbell overhead presses, chest presses, squats, heavy rows and stuff. Like if you're doing a heavy bicep curl, maybe you can teeter off a little bit. Maybe you don't need as much, but really treat every set like it's like your life and death, and it will allow for more. This is, you know what's funny? This is now what I get about Dorian Yates. People always say Dorian Yates trained with more intensity than anyone else. I didn't understand that because, well, it's not that hard to go to failure. I have 50-year-old women clients who can train to failure. It's not, you know, it's pretty easy to get to the point where you're like, oh, I can't lift it anymore, has to go back down. But what a lot of people can't do is what Dorian did, which was get so in the zone that he's actually training with mental intensity, which actually then allows him to go closer to what his muscles failure actually looks like, which is, or what his muscle full motor unit recruitment looks like from a scientific perspective. Another good example of this would be Eric Bugenhagen. I think part of his insane physique, apart from now being on steroids when he was natural, apart from great genetics, is his mindset mentality, just fucking going into it and slamming it. So that's something I've lost in the last 6 months because of the bicep tear. My leg day, I keep a little bit more of it, but even now, I don't know, like I just definitely haven't had the same amount of gung-ho in my workouts due to the bicep tear and, you know, shit like that, but I need to bring that back. And so no more audiobooks, no more training without music, and yeah, getting intense. All right, now real quick, I'm gonna do one arm at a time overhead presses because obviously with the barbell overhead press, to my left is the limitation, which means my left probably goes to failure, my right doesn't. So to try and get that balance, I'm gonna keep doing these unilateral movements, but I'm gonna start doing much more bilateral movements also, just because it's just so much time saving, and I don't know, I'm just sick of doing fucking one arm at a time with everything. It's boring. Part of why I couldn't get intense into my workout too is like it's boring. So if you're doing something that's boring, fucking good luck being, you know, getting that excitation you need for your muscles to potentiate force. Like it's just not going to happen. So it doesn't matter how optimal said workout might be, some crazy volumistic workout, which is just retarded. Volume isn't, anyway, you know what I'm saying? If you're not enjoying your workout, then good luck getting good results. You won't be able to produce the same amount of That's so much easier, fucking hell. So obviously that right arm, he just fucking blows it out of the water. That's annoying, but it'll get there. So every month I'm like, next month it'll be fully healed. Next month it'll be fully healed, but no. Yeah, it's taken a fucking long time to heal this bicep. Oh, fuck. I'm not very excited. Anyway. Cable decline press, get the lower pec, just get the pecs. So this is the shoulder dominant day, but do a set of pecs just to keep the myops there. Best way to put this would be, if you had to, I don't know, if like an overhead barbell press, what you normally do for, I don't know, someone just gives you a weight that you can do for a few reps. They said, all right, do as many reps as you can. No conditions, just do as many as you can, just because they said so, and you do as many as you can. and maybe you're a bit tired or whatever, I don't know, you're just like lethargic like I am right now. And then they're like, okay, a few days later, they're like, all right, do as many as you can. The whole fucking gun to your head. You're gonna get way more reps. And by proxy, you're getting more reps. Who gets more mechanical tension? You're the same person, you're just as strong, but which one gets more reps? The person who's more excited by something. In this case, the most, fucking ultimate excitation, gun to the head. Point being, though, is the guy who has the gun to his head does more reps with the same strength levels, which means his central nervous system is recruiting more motor units and more muscle fibers, getting mechanical tension rather. Probably gonna get better gains. Not to say that you should get someone to hire someone who should hold a gun to your head, but it's just an exaggeratory example of which state is gonna get you better gains. The state closest to getting shot in the head is much better than the state where you just get out of bed and you feel like shit and you haven't had a coffee. And that isn't to say that obviously, if you don't then have like a crazy manic workout, you're not gonna get any gains. Of course not, you'll get gains. If you go to temporary muscular failure or maybe a rep in reserve, you'll for sure get some gains. Will you get the better gains if you really go gung-ho though? Yeah, you will. So yeah, that's food for thought. Try to be as close to being shot in the head every time you work out as you can. All right. I'm just going to jump straight into right arm. You should ideally rest 2 minutes between your lateral movements, but this arm I'm just maintaining because it's weaker or stronger, so that's why I'm doing that. Save time. Not too far off now. I think when I first started doing unilateral movements, it was like fucking way off. Now at least I'm doing the same weights with each arm. It's just that this arm's not using the same amount of, well, it's not moving the same weight the same this arm is, but it's depressing. But I think back 2 months ago, and I'm like doing this with 70 kilos, or whatever the fuck that is, half stack, I guess, and doing like 20 with this or whatever, like it was hugely different. So that's progress. What I would say though is don't get too excited, because you get too excited, you will lose form. If you're, if you're just like fucking going crazy and trying to do deadlifts and you just start using fucking jerky form and shit, that's no good. You want to stay like stoically excited to the point where you're like, all right, like I'm doing these reps robotically. I'm doing the tricep extension, controlled explosion, 2 second negative, whilst excited. So you're like, fucking like brutal, aggressive, but you're not like like doing fucking schizo reps, So there is a certain control you have to have over that excitement. Otherwise, yeah. Also, you get adrenal burnout if you're not careful. Like deadlifts, but powerlifters experience this. I used to experience this when I was doing powerlifting. I get adrenal burnout because you can teach your central nervous system or your adrenaline system or adrenal system to produce a fuck ton of it. Like before every deadlift, I would put on like a song that would just get me so hyped, and I'd drink like 4 coffees and I'd be like, fucking going crazy. And it's like, well, then you get like inconsistency of sessions, because you cannot every single session find the perfect song, the perfect amount of caffeine, all that shit every time. and then you'll deadlift 200 kilos one week and the next week you can't get it. And you're like, fuck, why is that? Well, this week you just simply didn't get as hyped. So it should be a level of hype that you can achieve on a regular basis so that you're not getting like inconsistencies in your progressive overload, because you could fundamentally, especially in a very technically demanding movement, be able to create more excitation one session and then the next you couldn't, because last session you drank 5 coffees and fucking, you know, listened to Raining Blood by Slayer, and then the next session you had a bad day, you didn't eat as much, you didn't have enough sodium, you didn't have any caffeine, and I don't know, your fucking Bluetooth headphones are broken, or maybe you just couldn't find the song or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, I got weaker, when in reality you just were less neurologically efficient, or less, you got less motor unit recruitment because you weren't excited. So there's a sort of fine line there. I probably don't need 2 sets of side laterals, but it's one of those things where if I don't do it, I feel like I haven't done enough. And if I am overtraining it mildly, it's not going to impact my central nervous system or other movements. It's fine. Another example of this could be today is a 2-a-day for me. I could do my forearm training after this because this workout's not too difficult. It's just like 6 sets, 6, maybe 7 sets. It's like a pretty easy going workout. But if I then follow this up with arm wrestling, the arm wrestling will suffer because I'm getting a bit fatigued now. Not so much physically, I can keep doing whatever the fuck I want right now, but mentally I am, and then thus I won't be as keen to do the forearms. I'm going to be less able to get excitation, and my forearm work will suffer. So in order to combat that, on the days that I do my accessories of forearms, because for forearms for me is a lot, because I do arm wrestling specific shit. I do side pressure, cupping, pronation, extension. That's a fucking whole ass workout I don't want to do on the end of this workout. So I just shove it in later in the day. Whereas traps, for example, is an accessory. Traps I only do 1 movement for, and I'll just do it at the end of back day because it's not a huge deal. But to add a whole extra muscle group on top of, you know, shoulders, chest, and triceps, no bueno. I won't get the same result from that session due to the mental excitation that won't be there. Whew. That wasn't too bad actually. My left triceps, not too dissimilar to this one now. I think it's just when it's a heavy compound movement, the instability is pretty present because of the bicep. But when I do unilateral movements and there's not much stability required, it's just pure strength, this arm's okay. It's not too far off. Anyway, that's it for today. Peace out, bye.